What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we're going to be talking about this guy right here, and he is going to be the upcoming fusion coming to you guys next week. Now, we all thought that we had a little break after the Titan event. No. That's not going to be the case. We got this guy lined up. Let's talk about him. Let's go over his kit, and let's see what he's all about. All right, guys. So here he is, a Titus Blackplume. Now, he's going to be a Void Affinity defense-based champion, and he will be starting on July 3rd. So July 3rd is going to be next Thursday. So that's exactly 1 week from today at the time of the upload. Now, keep in mind that the Titan event is still ongoing until the 30th, as you can see here, which is the Monday, and the Coalition event is ongoing until the 1st, which is the Tuesday. So the fusion starts on the 3rd. Now, the other important thing to note is that Plarium did tell us what kind of fusion it is, and it is going to be a mixed style fusion. This means that we will be getting fragments to build up rares, and then, sorry, not rares, it will be epics. So fragments to build up the epics, and then you have to basically, level them up until they're 50 fully ascended, and then you fuse the epics into the legendary. Now, we had this in the past. It's a bit of a mix between like a fragment fusion and a traditional fusion. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Basically allows you to get like an epic out of it if you don't want the legendary, or if you can't get a legendary, and then that epic you can basically take it out during like a champion chase for some additional points, which can be useful. The bad thing about it is that if you miss some fragments, you can't really get lucky and pull a rare. Because you can't, so you have to get lucky and try to pull the epic, which is much harder. So good and bad about that kind of style, but it's going to be a mixed style fusion on July 3rd, so Thursday. So what is Titus Blackplume all about? So Plarium is saying that it's a versatile tank who brings serious value to PvP and PvE content. Now, that obviously sounds very, very strong if they can actually perform in both PvP and PvE. His signature passive triggers of his A3 automatically applying a bunch of defensive buff to allies in just the right moment, providing strong reactive protection when it matters most. So he is a reactive protection champion. So let's go over the kit here real quick and see if he's actually capable of protecting anybody. So A1, Raven Blade, attacks one enemy, 40% chance 60% chance when fully booked of placing block active skills for 2 turns. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a shield buff. That's pretty okay. I mean, irresistible if under a shield buff, 60% if not. When a ally counterattacks, teams up with allies to attack, or instantly activates a skill, also has a 60% chance of placing block active skills for 2 turns on the target enemy. So yeah, basically it turns your other allies' attacks into block active skill attacks as well. Potentially, not all their attacks, of course, counterattack, ally attacks, or instant activates. Then they also get block active skills as a possibility. I think it's pretty interesting. I think that's actually quite good, especially for places like Chimera, for example, where block active skills is very good against, for example, the Viper form of the Chimera. And having this debuff being landed without accuracy is a pretty nice bonus there. His A2, Student of War, 5-turn cooldown when fully booked is 3 turns. Attacks one enemy. This attack always crits if this champion's under a shield. Okay. This attack also gains a damage boost equal to the value of the shield. Will be interesting to see the multiplier that goes into this. For example, Khan the Branch Breaker has a boost based on the amount of shield he has on himself. And it can be a pretty good boost, so we'll have to see about that. Removes all debuffs from all allies if the target is killed. So full team cleanse if he kills somebody. If the target survives, place a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a shield buff. So in most likely scenarios, this is a 3-turn AoE provoke, and it deals a bit of damage on 1 enemy in most likely scenarios. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It could be useful against the head of decay in Hydra. Pitch in a little bit of damage, of course. And of course, it doesn't require accuracy if he is under a shield. So let's go over to his A3 Androx Confidant. 5-turn cooldown, books down to 3 turns. And we got a place in ally protection, increase attack, increase speed. So 3 buffs on a single ally for 2 turns. Also fill the turn meter by 40%. Then instantly activate this skill at the end of an ally's turn if that ally has no buffs and their current HP is lower than 100%. If there are multiple champions on his team, cannot activate more. Okay, so we do have a champion kind of like this. We have Incenza. Incenza places the Poison Cloud debuff with continuous heals, increased speed, and a turn meter fill as well. It's a bigger one. It's 50% instead of 40%. So it's similar. I would say the Poison Cloud is probably stronger than ally protection. Increased attack is nice here, but this conditional instant activate of this ability seems quite interesting. So if at the end of an ally's turn, if the ally has no buffs and is lower than 100%, so it won't work in like go first teams, because usually if you go first, you have 100% HP at the end of your turn. But I think this conditional part of his A3 can be very, very strong. He's basically applying 3 free buffs and a turn meter fill, which can be quite strong. Now, the under 100% HP part, that doesn't seem too difficult, and the no buffs part as well. However, if you're doing PvE content, most likely you'll have lots of buffs on, usually. Or you have buff heavy teams, for example, if you're doing PvE content like Hydra or Chimera or anything like that. The only situation where this would probably happen is if you're fighting an enemy wave that maybe strips you. Maybe there's waves in faction wars, for example. But I see this ability being quite strong, particularly for like faction wars. It's just a free passive upside on his A3. And yeah, I think it's really, really good. Let's check out his passive here for Lord and Land. Each time an enemy hits an ally, so enemy hits an ally, that ally's next attack will deal 10% more damage for each hit they take, up to 100%. That's a big boost. Damage increase resets after ally deals damage. So if you have, for example, a champion that is a little bit slower, that kind of just takes the hits, and then gets to stack up to 100%. Or maybe the ally you have has abilities that deal no damage, so he takes multiple turns of not dealing damage, but can soak damage. And then the one time it deals damage, it's getting a big boost. That can be pretty impactful. This also doesn't restrict itself to one ally, so it can actually apply to your whole team. But obviously, the damage has to be individual. Happening to them individually. But I mean, this could happen if the enemy attacks your team with an AoE attack, then your whole team gets a 10% damage boost on their next hit, potentially, at least, right? So let's say you have a go second team, your team gets hit by 4 champs or 5 champs, and then they take a turn. Everybody gets a damage boost. Now, I think this is a really strong passive. There's no cooldown on it. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. And the damage increase resets after ally deals damage. It's not ally takes a turn. It's ally deals damage. So when that ally, the ally can definitely set up to stack up to 100%. Like I said, if they have abilities that don't require them to attack or deal damage, then they can take multiple turns of damage, and then their next attack can be very, very powerful. Lastly, his aura increases void ally HP in all battles by 40%. Now, I don't think this is a particularly super strong aura or anything like that, unfortunately. They should have just gave him ally HP in all battles by 30% instead of just void, and just call it a day. But that is his overall kit here. On first read, it seems interesting. He is a void champion, so you're not very likely to pull this guy like ever. He looks like a high elf, but he's a banner lord. So this is something that you guys can, obviously bring into consideration. Like, he's going to be helpful for faction wars. He's a strong champion for faction wars. He has survivability. He has disruption, so to block active skills. He doesn't necessarily need accuracy for his kit, but obviously providing it does allow him some consistency. He has conditions where he gains, the irresistible A1 debuff placing if he has a shield on, and he gains additional damage and full crit if he has a shield on his A2. Unfortunately, he doesn't place a shield on himself. Now, what would have been cool is if his A3 provided a shield instead of the other buffs, ally protection, increase attack, and increase speed. He probably should have just, had an ability that placed shield on himself, and then placed buffs on everybody else. That would have been cool, right? But the A1 and A2 conditional, shield bonus, he cannot apply to himself. So he requires somebody else to apply the shield so that he can get the bonus, which I think is a massive drawback to this champion. Now, his A1 block active skill is a little bit on the special side, so you can definitely find some use for him. His A2, like I said, most likely scenario is probably going to be a 3-turn AoE provoke with a little bit of damage, which is not the worst. And it situationally could be a really good team-wide cleanse, for example. And his A3 is very, very interesting. I think there is a lot of value to be had here from this instant activation. And even if you don't get the instant activation, just the base ability, ally protection, increased attack, increased speed with the turn meter boost on one champion is basically very, very similar to Insenza's Poison Cloud boost, but a little bit watered down. And the icing on this champion is his passive. His passive, I can see massive potential because it does actually boost damage significantly without a cooldown, and up to a pretty significant amount, which is 100%. So I think there is definitely some potential here for his passive. Unfortunately, the condition, like I said, the conditional stuff with his shield, it's a little bit disappointing to see, but I do see potential in his A3 and his passive. Now, like I said, guys, the fusion's happening in a week's time, July 3rd on Thursday. I don't think anybody is really super happy with the lack of downtime, I guess, maybe between the Titan event and the fusion. We should be seeing a fusion warm-up near the end of the Titan event, maybe for some additional points, Titan points, just to cap us off, maybe. I'm not too sure. But hey, there we go. I think at the very least, this champion will at least be very strong for Bannerlord. So if you guys need to, pick him up just for help in, hard faction wars, for example, he probably will be very useful. We'll see how he goes in the playtest and all that, but he's going to be a support champion. Maybe we'll find some cool usage for his A3 and passive ability. But yeah, there we go. That's his kit. Titus Blackplume, defense-based, Void Affinity, Bannerlord, coming up next, July 3rd. That's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Titus here. Do you guys think he's a worthy fusion? Do you guys have the will and resources to go for him July 3rd? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.